Hello everybody and welcome to today's daily devotional. Have you ever questioned your faith? Ever questioned your belief in God, in Jesus? I have. Many men and women have over the centuries. Well, a journalist asked Pope John Paul II this exact question. And his answer is written in a book called Crossing the Threshold of Hope by His Holiness John Paul II. The whole book is basically a question from this journalist and the answer. And it is very beautiful, John Paul II's answer. So the question is, have you ever once hesitated in your belief, in your relationship with Jesus Christ, and therefore with God? Have you ever had doubts, but even questions and problems about the truth of the creed that we repeat at each Mass, which proclaims our faith? And the Pope answered by stating what Jesus told Peter, the first Pope: be not afraid. And he talks about when Peter was called by Jesus. And he's reading Luke's Gospel, starting at the beginning of chapter 5. And we're going to read it, and then I'm going to pull it apart just a little bit. So the Pope reads this part to the journalist. Once, while Jesus was standing beside the lake of Gennesaret, and the crowd was pressing in on him to hear the word of God, he saw two boats there at the shore of the lake. The fishermen had gone out of them and were washing their nets. So they'd finished fishing. They were packing up. Verse 3. He got into one of the boats, the one belonging to Simon, and asked him to put out a little way from the shore. Then he sat down and taught the crowds from the boat. When he had finished speaking, he said to Simon, "Put out into the deep water and let down your nets for a catch." Simon answered, "Master." So master here is talking like teacher, rabbi. "We've worked all night long, but have caught nothing. Yet if you say so, I will let down the nets." When they had done this, they caught so many fish that their nets were beginning to break. So they signalled their partners in the other boat to come and help them. And they came and filled both boats so that they began to sink. But when Simon Peter saw it, he fell down at Jesus' knees, saying, "Go away from me, Lord, for I am a sinful man." For he and all who were with him were amazed at the catch of fish that they had taken. And so also were James and John, sons of Zebedee, who were partners with Simon. Then Jesus said to Simon, "Do not be afraid. From now on you will be catching people." When they had brought their boats to shore, they left everything and followed him. So they'd been out fishing all night. And Jesus uses Simon's boat to preach from. The way the acoustics worked, it must have, because they didn't have microphones. If you sort of were preaching offshore and everyone else was on the land, they could hear what he had to say. And Simon's naturally listening to this teacher, this rabbi, what he's sharing about. And when Jesus finishes speaking, he turns to Simon and says, "Can you go out deeper now and put out your nets in the deep part?" Deeper is deeper harder, I know, depending on the type of fish that you're trying to catch. And we have to do some investigation what type of fish were available in where they were, in the Sea of Galilee. Were they surface fish? Were they ones that you had to put out. I know with different types of fish, you throw the food on the top of the water and they come to the top of the water. Some they put on little feathers and things on the say if you were hand reeling, feathers, and it goes deeper and everything because that's how the fish gets attracted to it. Are these fish, if you go deeper, are these fish because they live deep down on the bottom of the ocean, the floor? I don't know. But Jesus tells Simon to do it a different way, or different to how he just done it. Now, is it out of respect for the teacher that he's just heard speak that he'll go, okay, all right, I'll do it? Is it to humour him? I've been out all night. Okay, but all right, I'll do it. We don't know. And when he obeys, even though he doesn't know, they catch so much fish. The boat's going to collapse and they call for his cousins to come over, and even that they're both going to sink with the amount of fish that they catch. And Jesus' response is kneeling before the Lord and saying, Lord, forgive me, I'm a sinful man. Go away from me. I'm not worthy to be around you. He recognized his doubt. Jesus knew his doubt too, but he recognized, I guess, why he did it. I'm sinful. I didn't even believe anything could happen. I was just humoring you. I just did it out of respect. And Jesus tells him, you no longer will be catching fish, you'll be catching men. I'm changing the definition of your career. I'm actually changing your entire career. And he says, now come and follow me. Pope John Paul II says, I've been asked by God, I've been chosen by God because of the election, of the voting, to be the Pope, to follow in Peter's footsteps. And he said, I too am a sinful man. I'm not worthy of this role. I'm not worthy to follow God like this. And Jesus, just as he said to Peter, he said, be not afraid. What does he say? Do not be afraid. From now on you will be catching people. Because do not be afraid. I'll be doing it in you, Simon. The Pope says, he felt like God say, do not be afraid. I will be doing it for you, in you, with you, through you. And he said that, your doubts of who your ability and your contribution are always there. But Christ was telling all the apostles, but particularly Peter, be not afraid. They were not sure if they saw Christ as he is known. They didn't really know him then. They were afraid when he was arrested. They were afraid when he even rose from the dead. They thought the soldiers had taken him away. Be not afraid. Don't worry. Don't, I guess, be concerned about your doubts. Trust in me. And often our doubts get us to seek God more, or seek answers more, or seek him more. Ask him to reveal truth to you. Don't be afraid. It's okay to doubt. We are sinful people, but God will do it in us. It's again our surrender, our love that God desires. And God can work with anybody. This book is amazing if you'd ever want to read it. Crossing the Threshold of Hope by His Holiness John Paul II. So don't be afraid if you have doubts. Give the doubts to God. Tell him, be real, where you're at, what you're doing, what you're thinking. And ask God to reveal himself to you more. Have a wonderful day, and you'll be pleased to know Bruce is home tomorrow. So we'll have him back to be able to share the word and share his experiences and share what God puts on his heart for us to hear, for us to use, so that we can all love God way more, stronger, better, greater. So have a wonderful day.